What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the PWZ podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Somebody I want to talk to for quite some time is here tonight with me. It's the guy, Jack Dalton. How's it going?
It's going good. How about you?
It's fantastic. I'm happy to be here with you tonight.
I'll give myself a little introduction.
There you go.
My name is Jack Dalton, and I am absolutely, positively, unequivocally, without a shadow of a doubt, the guy. And if you don't know me yet, soon you will. And once you get to know me, if you don't like me, it's probably because you're not me. Because I'm everything you're not and everything you want to be. I'm the guy.
So you've been making a lot of waves, and you've only been in this business for a few short months.
Yep.
I'm glad to see that I've gotten to see a good portion of your matches live and in person. And I got to say, I've been talking to a mutual friend of ours, and he said that, he's really, you're really good. And then I finally got to see you. I was quite impressed for only being in that ring for just a few short months. And not to sound like a brown nose or ass kisser or nothing, but you've become one of my favorite wrestlers in the last couple months, and I've been wildly impressed. So
I appreciate it. I'll take all the praise in the world, but thank you.
So I want to know, let's see, how did you get into professional wrestling? Not the world of professional wrestling, but when you were younger. Obviously, most wrestlers, discover professional wrestling at a young age. I myself discovered it in the 1980s during the huge boom. I instantly fell in love with it and kind of never left, So how did that happen with yourself?
Well, first, I think we all start off as fans. We were just fans who took it too far. So the way I got it started, one of my first memories in general is like a wrestling memory. I was probably 3 or 4 years old, and me and my brother were flipping through the channels, and we stopped. We saw what now, I didn't know who any of the people were at the time, but it was The Rock, Trish Stratus, Vince, and Rikishi in the ring. And I'm like 3 or 4 years old, and I just see this big Samoan with his big Samoan butt. So we see Trish, she's beautiful, The Rock, and Vince all in the ring, and they're doing the Kiss My Ass Club. That's one of my first memories in general, and just obviously my first wrestling memory. But after that, really never remember watching it. I remember getting, like, for Christmas one year, getting like the figures and all that. But then where I really became like a diehard, like, weekly watching fan was around 2006. Again, my brother got me into it. One of his friends came over. He had the ring and the figures and all that. And I didn't put two and two together that first wrestling memory and this was also wrestling. And then he told us, hey, you got to watch it. And we put it on, and it was a Monday Night Raw. And I just remember seeing John Cena and Edge. So it was around that time, like right before the summer, right after WrestleMania 22. And ever since then, I've been watching. My favorite feud of all time, it's probably because that's when I really started watching, is Edge versus Cena. I think it's one of the best feuds of all time. But that's really what got me into it. And then I really haven't stopped watching since.
Outside of WWE, what was the first non-WWE experience that you had? I know there's always, people think that there's only WWE. Certain people, I shouldn't say everybody, but when you're growing up, WWE is like the Coca-Cola of the professional wrestling world. It's one of those, or McDonald's. It's the big conglomerate. Yeah. So the majority of the people, they don't know much outside of that. It's always interesting to see how people find other such things. I discovered the NWA somehow randomly skipping through magazines. I used to buy every magazine at the corner store, the Krausers or whatever, the Wawa at the time in Connecticut. So I discovered stuff outside of there, and then finally found it on television. And so what was your story as far as finding professional wrestling outside of that?
So, I mean, it's a few different things. I watch pretty much everything. I'm a big, like, 80s wrestling fan, and not like the WWF 80s, but like the territories and like late 70s. Yeah. That's really, I like that style, that in-ring product. like the NWAs of the world. But so going to like a Krauser's or like a grocery store, they would have the magazines. And I remember like when my parents would shop, me and my brother would look through the PWI, and I'm seeing all these people that I don't see. So then the first is TNA. I see guys from TNA like AJ Styles, Monty Brown, just those TNA originals. So we found out that that was also a product. Started watching that on Spike on Thursdays, and then really never really as a kid didn't know like what Ring of Honor and New Japan and any of that stuff was. Mainly it was TNA, and I'm watching there and then seeing a lot of the WWE guys eventually go over there and back and forth. But when I got a little bit older, I wasn't like a weekly watcher, but I still kept my finger on the pulse of it. But it was definitely as I got older and the product changed a little bit. Not that I fell out of love with wrestling, but I wasn't relating to it as much, and I was definitely just like busy with life, like high school. I played a lot of sports and busy with that stuff. So like watching it like on a Monday or a Tuesday or whenever it was on, it was definitely harder to watch. But what really got me back into it was I saw that Cody Rhodes left WWE in like 2015. And I was shocked. I was like, what? I couldn't believe it. So then I went to a lot of Northeast wrestling shows as a kid. That's like the independent I would always see like outside of WWE, and you get to see all these up and coming guys. And then obviously you get to see the guys who either have left WWE or, any other places. So when Cody left, I started watching it again and seeing what he was doing. I discovered Being the Elite and the YouTube series that they do, and then started watching Ring of Honor and New Japan and seeing all of that side of wrestling in like 2015, 2016, 2017 up until AEW started. And now I obviously watched that as well. And then another way that I watched it was we had WWE 24/7, which was like the network before the network. So I get to watch a lot of that.
It was on Comcast. Comcast. Yep. Yeah, I belong to that as well. That was awesome. It's so the network now, or if the network, what became the network, or even Peacock, never touched upon the great stuff that they would put up there, because they would put up more of like those hour-long syndicated shows like NWA Pro or WCW Pro or the Smoky Mountain, or just random 1-hour programs that, and for some reason they have this huge library. They don't put them up on Peacock now, and I'm waiting for all that stuff to get up there.
Yeah, that's really where I discovered that old school type wrestling, because they would have like I believe it was like you could click live and just see what was on, and then you could also go through, and it was like having a buffet of wrestling, and you could really navigate it a lot better. My big problem with Peacock now is just it's so hard to navigate. Like if I have a certain match in mind or certain wrestler in the network or on WWE 24/7, you could kind of find it a little bit easier. Just type in their name and you could see all the matches that they have on there, which Peacock, you can't do that. So just on that WWE 24/7 platform, I discovered, as I watched what was live every week as a kid, I was also watching all of the Nitros and all of the old Raws from the Raws War era, as well as ECW and a lot of the old NWA stuff and Smoky Mountain, like you said. So that's really where I got all of like that love for wrestling, and seeing anything, even though it's, a WWE product, they had a lot of non-WWE stuff there. That's really where I discovered a lot more of what's out there besides the main what was on TV.
Right. So tell me, what made you interested in joining this crazy world of professional wrestling?
So I've said it since I was a kid that that's all I've ever wanted to do. There's a short period of time where, you're in high school and you're taught like you got to go to college, you got to do this, you got to do that, follow this basic life. But I always felt something different. I always felt like I don't want to follow like the norm and just follow this path. So in the college that I did go to during that time, I knew what I wanted to do. It was just all about finding the right school, and finding really where I could, best be. And when I attended a Northeast Wrestling show, I actually talked to Cody Rhodes, right when he left WWE. That first run, it was the match we had with Kurt Angle in the steel cage, and beforehand they did a meet and greet, and I got to talk to him, and he took his time with me, and I told him, I'm really thinking about doing this. I really want to be a pro wrestler. What would you recommend? Like, how do you get into this? And he told me, just go get trained by someone reputable. Go get trained by somebody who's made money in the business. And he just took his time with me, and really going to that show sparked a fire in me. And then I believe it was like, I wasn't ready to commit, because I know that this is a commitment and it's something I've always wanted to do. And the timing was right. I started training locally in like 2019, right before COVID happens. I'm sitting at home, not knowing if wrestling what wrestling that I know is ever going to come back. And just really, I said, if it did come back, I really want to be ready for when it does. So I want to say that, like, me, like my character, that's me. Like, that's me 24/7. It's not a character. It's not a persona. It is who I am. I just turned up to the 10th degree. And I really got to iron that out during that time and really think about who I wanted to be and what I wanted to do. And I just had a lot of time to watch a lot of wrestling. And then eventually made the decision, after everything kind of chilled out with COVID and people close to me were taken care of, who had gotten sick, to move down to Florida and train at Flatbacks with Shawn and Tyler Breeze. And that's really, I've always wanted to do it. And I have to, when I do something, I have to be all in on it. And I believe going down there and being a part of that program, it kept me all in on it.
Nice. So what was it like training with Shawn Spears? And then how was that experience?
So I want to say it's the best experience I've ever had. It was the hardest physically and mentally thing I've ever done. Obviously, moving that far away from home. When I talk about to friends and family about wanting to be a wrestler, and they know me, and they know that, like, they would tell me, you need to go and do it. Like, I have this expression. Am I allowed to swear on here?
Oh, fuck yeah. Sorry.
Shit or get off the pot. That's it's just like ripping the Band-Aid off. And after sitting at home for 3 years, basically during COVID, and feel like I'm just losing time, I needed a change. I needed a wake up. I needed a complete redirect. So going down there, I've always related to those two guys in the ring, like Tyler Breeze, biggest character. He oozes charisma. And I was always drawn to him watching his stuff in NXT. And then the same thing with Spears. I consider myself that type of, I'm still ironing out my my in-ring skills, but
right.
that type of stalk your opponent, and you don't do a lot, but what you do, it means something. And you can strike at any moment. And I really did relate to him. And but being down there training with them, it was, like I said, very, very hard, mentally and physically, being away from home. And just it was 4 and sometimes 5 days a week, constant. You're beat up and you're mentally tired, but you have, like, all these people who are like-minded around you, who I had roommates when I was down there, and you go and you learn together, and it was the best experience of my life. I can honestly say that. They're so motivating. I have a one memory where we're doing drills, like they do a lot of the WWE like blow up drills, like a lot of the stuff that you would see like when you watch like the PC tryouts. Right. And like the 4 corners drill, and I'm in the corner, and Spears is screaming in my face, just like, let's go. And just I don't know. I got goosebumps. Like, I'm dying. Like, I'm literally gassed. And he's in my face, like, you got this. Like, just that motivating factor. And then you really have to, like, wake yourself up. Because after you finish, and I couldn't believe my eyes when you have to take a step back. And I'm just like, where am I right now? I'm getting trained by these men that I've looked up to and watched for so many years. And then there would be guest training spots where people would come in on certain days. And like one day we're all just sitting there and Billy Gunn walks in and he's a massive human being and he's just talking to us and we're getting to pick his brain and ask him questions. And after every single class, you'd get to, you got any questions, guys? And we could ask any question that we wanted from people that were currently doing it. Spears flew during our class and went and fought CM Punk. Like, and they came back the next day and was there. It's just like, it's mind blowing. It's crazy to have that knowledge and to be able to pick those guys' brains. And they really teach you to work for TV, to always look for a camera, and be able to just, who's your character? Who are you? Go. And be able to do that. And yeah, it was the best experience I've ever had in my life.
You have more of an old school approach to your approach in the ring. Like I'm guessing that grows for your love of like older territory style wrestling as opposed to today. There's a lot of big moves, flippity floppity stuff, for lack of a better term, So is that what influenced your style? Basically, a lot of older stuff.
Definitely, like a couple of my favorites, like of all time. Like I like the Ric Flairs of the world, the Tullys, the Arns. My favorite of all time. It was different as a kid, but then growing up and really realizing what means stuff and what doesn't. Like Bret Hart is my favorite wrestler of all time.
Mm-hmm.
He did everything insanely good, and when they call him the excellence of execution, I always thought it was just a nickname. And then like when you really learn about this business and what goes on in that ring, that it means, like, I know what that means now. And yeah, just that really, I don't think I'm not just gonna do stuff for the sake of doing stuff. And it was one thing that I was taught as well, is just why. Everything you do, why? It's just like in life. Like there's got to be a reason behind everything. You don't just go out there and have a match. Like work on something. Think of something that you can do every single time you're out there that you can improve on, because we're always learning, or you're always trying to get better. But that old school of just I think a lot of people now try to work for a pop. Like they try to get just that instant reaction. But like I can't name like certain guys like as a kid that did moves. I remember them because of their characters. I remember them because of just like John Cena does 5 moves, right? He's the biggest star ever in the history of the business. Maybe besides Stone Cold, he did like 3 moves. And there's a reason. You don't have to do a lot. I don't want to do a lot. And it's not because I can't. But I mean, I definitely can't do all the high flying and stuff like that. But I'm blessed and glad to have the size that I do and the mind that I do for it. Yeah, I just watching a lot of that old stuff really inspired my style and continues to, because I still watch it all.
One of the things that you said that you're able to do it, but a lot of those guys, like you can remember certain guys, you don't remember necessarily certain guys because they did a lot of stuff, but other guys, like such as the Tullys and the Arns, it's just one of the things about professional wrestling that makes it stick with you is that and gets the crowd riled up is that less is more, and it makes you want more. That's like Arn. To me, you mentioned him. He's my favorite wrestler of all time. Literally, I think when I discovered him in the mid '80s, he just, for some reason, I watched him and thought this guy's a beast. This guy could, and Tully is definitely up there. I've got to experience Tully quite a bit as well because they were a tag team. I love that guy, but they're not overdoing things, I guess. And but the crowd hates them at the end. They're doing it. How am I going to say it? It's just the way they are in the ring that makes the crowd riled up. It's not necessarily because they're not going for that big pop.
we're in the business of suspending disbelief, and those guys, that era, they would have people in the palm of their hand, and then and at the end of the night hating them for what they were doing, and leave you wanting more. Like, you're not going to unload every single move that you have in one match. You know, it's like a business where you can hit the classics, and you know, there's certain songs that people, you go to a bar, you go to like a party, there's certain songs that always get played, and there's a reason they always get a pop, because you don't need everything. You know, you just, I don't know, I'm trying to relate to something else, but wrestling's such an anomaly. It's such a crazy world that when you try to explain it to somebody that like isn't in it, like talking to like my girlfriend or talking to my family that doesn't watch wrestling or friends, it's crazy to explain. If you know, you know, I guess.
That's exactly it. I was having a conversation this past Friday night. It's you know, one of the guys at a show was talking about, it's like his girlfriend don't get it. And I was sharing a similar story. It's like, here I am just doing a podcaster, but I go to like a million shows, and my wife does not understand my obsession with professional wrestling or why I'm into it so much. You know what I mean? I watch, and there's wrestling is, I'm saying that it's another boom. I'm sure you could say now, because there's wrestling on literally every day out of the week this week.
100%.
She doesn't understand that. Why are you watching this again? It's like, no. I said it's normal. You know, if somebody was watching baseball or football, there's wrestling or baseball on every day of the week. That's okay to most people, but
and it's the same team.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
They
like,
have
I'm
a series
huge,
of 5 games or whatever it is.
Yeah, I'm a Red Sox fan, so I'll sit there and watch the Red Sox for a week straight. It's like, they don't get, like, no, man. It's like, there's another company. There's this series of great guys. It's just something that pulls you in that you want to see. You know what I mean? It's like, you can't help it. Professional wrestling it's a whole nother world, but a lot of people don't understand it. So,
hey, sometimes, you know, maybe it's a good thing that like you have your niche little, like, if you know, you know. It's like, it's, you know, if everyone knew and everyone knew the magic of it, maybe it wouldn't be so magic. But, you know, yeah.
I fell out of it I know I've told this story on this podcast numerous times. I fell out of it for about 2 to 3 years. And it was her son, when I met her and started dating her, her son was like obsessed with WWE at the time.
Yep.
And bringing him to a WWE and then having a chance run in with somebody locally that got me back into professional wrestling. And now it's like a full force thing. You know what I mean? I was only out of it for about a couple of years, but now it became a whole new world to me, being able to go to shows. I'm friends with a lot of people, and then started this podcast. This podcast was initially not even going to be a wrestling podcast. I was involved in radio for a little bit, and I was going to go and do a radio show, and then somehow running into like Big Daddy, that got me, you know, into professional. It sparked my interest in professional wrestling again, and made me, I guess, obsessed once again in a whole nother world.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, it's an obsession. And it's always there. It's always going to be there during like this whole period of pandemic, where it was like, at least for the indies, yeah, it wasn't there, but
Yeah.
it was on TV. You know, it's wrestling for me has always been there, no matter what I'm going through in life or not. It's always there. Even if you don't enjoy the current whatever's going on, you can always go back and watch the stuff that you do like. And it's weird that I look at certain periods of my life and I relate them to wrestling. Like I look at like 2006 and I'm like, oh, that's Edge versus Cena era for me. But like, I can name like things in my life that happened then because I related to wrestling.
Right.
And it's just weird. It's crazy. But
yeah. It's a wonderful world. It's a wonderful part of, you know, something great to be a part of.
I apologize. It's so dark in here now.
Yeah, you're good. I can still see you. Let's talk about some of your in-ring action. When did you make your debut in the world of professional wrestling? I did a little research, and I found the earliest thing that I could find was May of this year, 2022, against Zachariah Gibbs. His name is going to be brought up a couple times in the next, show.
It's because I'm his Jack Daddy. So I had like at Flatbacks a lot of, like, you could say, practice matches. In front of the coaches and guest trainers and the other students.
Right.
I don't really count any of those, but those are like my first, like, you know, like matches, but my first like match live in front of people was May of this year against Zachariah Gibbs.
Okay.
We were a little bit of different roles there. I was still, wasn't sure if I liked people or not. So he was angry at that time for some reason. I can see why. He's got to wake up and look at that face. But yeah, that was my debut. I've been trying to be out on the scene as much as possible since. Came up short that time. But after that, I was expecting to go out there. I was super nervous, and I was expecting to go out there and just completely have the worst match ever, which it probably is. But I got good feedback from people, and I always ask after my matches. I try to find somebody and ask what I can work on, because I want to get better. I hate when I come through and if I said to someone, how was that? And they're like, "Oh, it's great." It wasn't great. I want to know what I can do better, because I want to get better. I want to be the best. I want to be someone that promoters want to book. We're hopefully to one point where people are reaching out to me, and that's only going to happen by wrestling weekly, hopefully soon.
From there, I have on my list, it's you against Jake Lynn of the Battle Academy. I did not write where that was from. Was that from Shut Up and Wrestle?
It was. That's where I have my first matches as well.
Okay.
I'll give a little shout out, a little credit to Gibbs, where he did help me get in there, and recommended me to Honest Abe to get into to Shut Up and Wrestle. And now I've done every Shut Up and Wrestle since then, and will continue to do so. But yeah, I was against Jake Lynn. Still came up short that time. I would love to have a rematch with him. He is a beast. He's a big dude. I'm a big dude, and I love those type of matches. Very physical in the ring. I like to definitely like to work that way. And it was definitely fun.
How do you view Jake Lynn at this time? I have to say that, personal opinion, I think that verbally, this guy has so much charisma. He's a great talker. He can be very comedic at times. I just think that he has that. He would be great in a managerial role, I think, with the way he's able to speak.
100%. I think just it applies. I think to be successful in this business is to be as well-rounded as you possibly can. He is someone who is very well-rounded. He can wrestle. He can talk. He can be comedic. And I just feel like that's everyone. You can always learn to get better at wrestling, but what really separates people, for me at least, is the character and the charisma and being able to captivate someone by not doing a move. And he can do that. I feel like I share that as well. I'm not shy about it. I love to talk. That is my favorite thing about wrestling. It's really what really got me, really draws me into wrestling, is when I watch someone have a passionate promo. And the difference between a promo that's good and a promo that's bad in the first 5 seconds, and you could tell who's nervous and who's not. I love talking. I love the promo. I love the Roxwold promos. They really, I don't know, being entertaining, is as much as it's pro wrestling, it is sports entertainment. For no matter what company you're in, if it's not entertaining, you're not going to watch. And yeah, he's very well rounded in that aspect, and I feel myself that I am as well.
For Blood, Sweat, and Tears, you, according to my list here, June 3rd, 2022, you made your debut there, teaming with Arcane Axel against Mark Alexander and Shawn Venor.
Yes. That came about because I reached out to Lucas Chase and Flash and Kylon, and I'm good friends with them, and they put my name out there for me, and stuck their neck out for me and got me into Blood, Sweat, and Tears. And that was probably the biggest crowd that I've performed in front of so far. It was a great show. I got to be the I believe it was the opening match or the second match, and a team of Ark and Axel, someone I'd like to team with again. He literally spits fire. Yeah, it was fun. I got to really, I feel like that was my coming out to the wrestling world party right there of hey, I'm the guy, I'm Jack Dalton, this is who I am. And Blood, Sweat, and Tears has given me that platform to do that, whether that's promos or just giving me that big opportunity on one of their bigger shows. And it's probably so far one of my fondest memories in wrestling. And we did win that one. I got to kick
good.
Mark Alexander's head off.
I'm going to ask you about him a little bit later. So he'll come up in the conversation in a few minutes. But this is a weird one to me. This one, you wrestled Ala Ding Ding. This guy I haven't seen in a while.
Sorry, it's raining here. I don't know if you can hear it on there, but
I can hear you still. Yep.
So I came up victorious on that one. That was also at Shut Up and Wrestle. The way it's really has been set up at Shut Up and Wrestle is you shut up, you show up, you shut up, and you wrestle. So whoever you're booked against, that's who you're going against. He was definitely it was a fun match, a fun opponent in the ring. But I got to hit him with the S1-3. That's what I call that kick, and beat him as well.
All right, so this is I was in person. This is the first time I got to see you live, I believe, in person. July 30th, you teamed up with Zachariah Gibbs. Now, you guys were going into this as childhood friends, teaming up in the Coliseum Pro Tag Team Tournament. You guys were eliminated early on in the first match of that tournament against the Battle Academy. And then you quickly, after the match, as Gibbs took the fall, you turned on him.
So you could say I turned on him, or you could just say he got what he deserved. I believe that we had that match won. If you watch the footage, I believe footage you shot.
It's up on my channel here if anybody wants to see it. He tagged himself in.
He did.
Unknowingly to Mr. Jack Dalton here, the guy, if you will.
So we had a plan. The plan was going to perfection. I got in there. I had him beat. Battle Academy, great competitors. They went on to win the whole thing, win the titles, but he cost us the match, and I acted in anger, but it's not something I regret, because I think it taught him a lesson to not go into business for himself.
And then was it the following? No, was it 2 weeks later? You met him at the following Coliseum Pro show in Bridgeport, Connecticut. And I think you taught him a lesson. There's pictures of this, by the way, up on our Instagram of Mr. Jack Dalton knocking the Amish man out, if you will.
Yeah, so I got to win that one. Zachariah, it was a very physical match. He came out and he gave it to me. He really did hit me harder than I think anyone has so far. He's got that Amish strength. He might not look like it, but he is one strong person. And it didn't matter, though, because at the end of the night, my hand got raised. I beat him completely clean. Some people want to say that I cheated, but I don't view what I did as cheating because it wasn't cheating. It was he just got what he deserved, you know. And I even took a picture with his mom after the show. She wanted a picture with me because I'm Zachariah Gibbs' his Jack Daddy.
I have to agree. He got what he deserved. I'm sorry, Zachariah. No, I'm not sorry. He got what he deserved. Sorry. So
at least I got someone that agrees with me.
Yeah, he had it coming to him. Let's be serious. It's Zachariah Gibbs here.
I honestly think that little feud or program, if you will, I think it really woke him up. I think we might see a new Zachariah Gibbs. I think we might see someone who isn't afraid to really lay his stuff in, and someone who really is not afraid to talk, smack back to people when they disrespect him. So in a way, I do respect him for really bringing it and really stepping up his game.
Let me ask you a little bit off topic. We're going to talk a little bit more about Zachariah Gibbs. I want to ask you this. I preferred when he was, say, with the Cure, Lucas Chase, and out of the, I guess, less of the Amish character.
Yep.
How would you, and then he goes back to being the Amish character. And personal opinion, I take professional wrestling very seriously. I'm not into comedic gimmicks or garbage gimmicks and BS. I cringed when I saw him come back out with the churn and the Amish looking clothes. May I get your opinion?
So I think my opinion is he can do whatever he wants to do. He can be whatever he wants to be. I at the end of the day, I only really worry about me and what I got going forward. If put it this way, whether he's on Rumspringa or he's with the Cure, Lucas Chase, or in a group, or if he's Amish and he has a white shirt on, wearing a stupid hat, he steps in the ring with me, it's only going to end one way, and that's with me on top of him and him looking up at the lights. So whatever gimmick or character he has, it doesn't matter because he's not the guy.
Well, there you go. There you have it. All right. So the next night, you were in a triple threat or three-way dance, whatever you want to call it, at BST's Mega Clash. I was at this show in attendance, front row. I have to say that this show as a whole was an amazing show. The main event was just amazing. It was awesome. I had so much fun. I was there with your brother and a friend of mine. And so you took on Sunset Steve Garcia and Mark Alexander. Mark Alexander, I think, is a very good up-and-comer. He's getting better and better by the week, I guess you could say, every time I see him. Steven Garcia is also very good, and he's getting better and better every time I see him. Little ways to go, but I think that he's a great dude and great competitor in this world of the Connecticut wrestling area.
Well, about that match, I'd like to say that one, Mark Alexander got extremely lucky, extremely lucky. But I will give him his credit. He is probably my favorite person I've been in the ring with so far, chemistry wise, and just I want him one-on-one. I want him one-on-one, and I want him one-on-one soon. But when it comes to that match, now that was probably the biggest crowd that I've performed in front of. That show as a whole, like you said, was phenomenal. When I showed up to the building that day and I saw the setup that they had, and how professional it was, and how even afterwards, once they uploaded the footage with the camera, like I said, I was taught to work for TV, look for the cameras, and I was looking for the hard cam the whole time. I try to make as many moments out of the time that I have as much as possible. So when it comes to that match, you can look at it and it's right there. I dominated the whole thing. My strategy at the beginning was let them fight. And then when I come back in, I picked the right opportunity. That's something I learned from watching Edge as a kid. He's the ultimate opportunist. He's someone that picks and chooses his opportunities, and he takes advantage of them. Some might say that's like underhanded, but I think whatever gets you the win at the end of the day. And that's the right move. So you can look at that whole match. I dominated it. I dominated Steve. I dominated Mark Alexander. And I had it in the bag. I had the match won. And Mark got lucky. He hit me with his Shining Wizard, or whatever he calls it, and it just connected right away. The ref counted way too fast. And the record shows that he has a win, right? But is he going to have a win if he faces me one-on-one? I think one-on-one, I don't think he has a chance. I think he got lucky that night. And I hope I get him one-on-one soon.
From there, which was last week or the week before, you took on another young up-and-comer trained with at the Team 3D Academy, Ken Powers, over at Shut Up and Wrestle.
So another hard-hitting match, very similar to the Jake Lynn match. I love that hard-hitting style, and he is the powerful one. He is one strong dude in the ring as well. At the end of the day, I came out. Well, first I came out and I needed to let Don Kincaid know that it's always the guy show. If you see me, it's the guy show. So I had to wear his love Cindy Hart's shirt to the ring and let him know that she was part of the guy show. And she was actually wearing my shirt. So Kincaid, if you're watching, welcome to the guy show. But when it comes to the match, Ken Powers, one powerful dude, hits hard. I love that. I hit him harder, and I got the win. The name of my finishing move, if you will, is the S13, because when my size 13 foot hits the side of your head, you're done. 1, 2, 3, and still the guy, Jack Dalton, and that's how it ended for Mr. Powers.
So we've talked about Shut Up and Wrestle. We've talked about Blood, Sweat, and Tears and Coliseum Pro. Where else have you worked? Have you worked Tough and Talented?
So I did. I was in a battle royal at Tough and Talented. Teamed during that match. We had a strategy. Me and my my friend now. I don't know how we are now, but Mr. Lorenzo Vendetta tried to eliminate everyone, and so it just came down to us and let the best man win. And he turned on me. So he does have a receipt coming sometime soon. But I did work Tough and Talented there. And then I'm also on the September 10th show, the 1-year anniversary show of Tough and Talented coming up next weekend. I'm in an 8-man scramble match or all-out war, whatever they're calling it. And I plan to win that one as well.
I'll be there.
Awesome. Up in Torrington.
That's good.
And then the next night, next day, I'll be facing 50 cal at Shut Up and Wrestle 25.
Nice. So let me know what else is in store besides those two for the guy.
So right now, the next show that I have booked is the Blood, Sweat, and Tears on November 18th, their next show. I'm not sure who I'm facing or what the plan is yet. I believe it'll be announced pretty soon. Tickets went on sale today. And then I'm just reaching out to promoters, trying to get to as many shows as possible, help out, and try to get booked. Right now, those two shows for September is really all I have. I know there's a ton of shows coming up at the end of September. I plan on going to try to help out and just get my foot in the door. So yeah, that's what I have coming up right now. And then every Shut Up and Wrestle, I will be there as well.
That's a very important part as a young up and comer. You might only wrestle a few matches here and there in the beginning, but I've seen you at shows such as Test of Strength and stuff, helping out and it's good to show up and help out, whether you're breaking down the ring, setting it up, etc., etc. It's called paying your dues initially. So that's what a lot of kids, I don't think, seem to understand these days.
Yeah, I mean, when I message promoters, obviously I want to get booked.
Yeah.
But in my message, I say, is there anything I can do to create an opportunity or anything I can do to help out? Obviously, if promotions are kind of far away, like in a different state, it's sometimes always hard to get to those shows to try to go and just help out. But when it comes in the ring, I have an ego. I believe I'm the best when I'm in the ring. I don't respect anybody when I'm in the ring. But outside of the ring, I believe in that culture of paying dues and trying to make way for yourself by doing the right thing. Like with the Test of Strength, I've gone to a lot of their shows and helped out, and hopefully I get to be on one of their shows one day soon. Everyone that is over there has been great to me so far since getting into the business, and it's a fun bunch of guys over there. And then
they put on really good shows. I've been to a few recently.
They really do.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It does pay off too to show up. A bigger promotion in the Northeast is Blitzkrieg Pro.
Mm-hmm.
I did get to work for them a couple weekends ago. I showed up to help out, and I set up the ring, and they did give me an opportunity. I got to go against Devontae's, another big dude, another hard-hitting dude. It was a fun match. wasn't so fun wrestling outside in like 85-degree weather. I walked away with a sunburn and an ass kicking. It was definitely it was a fun match, a hard hitting match. But just showing up and helping out got me that opportunity, and I hope to work for them more in the future. They're awesome, and I didn't go there expecting to work. I went there just to help out, to try to get my foot in the door and show that I don't have an ego when it comes to stuff like that. And the promoter gave me an opportunity, and I appreciate Blitzkrieg and them for that as well.
They're doing something coming up soon here in Connecticut in Enfield. They're teaming up with Limitless.
Yep.
So for 2 nights, I'm looking forward to that. I plan on, as of this time, I was talking to my buddy that I plan on making it down there for at least one of those nights, whether I make it for 2. But one of the other things that, if you're there to help out, one of the things that I've learned over the years and from reading so much is that just show up with your gear, because you never know what may happen.
Yeah, I mean, that was the first thing after I was done helping out. Hey, you got your gear? And I was just like, what? Yeah, I got it. And they booked me to wrestle, and it was awesome. A lot of my friends were on that show, and it was cool to be on a show with all of them and be on a show of that caliber. Yeah,
they run some of the biggest shows in the state.
They do,
and they bring in some great talent.
I plan on going to those shows as well and try to help out as well. The show I was on, they, like you said, they do bring in big talent. Tony Deppen was on the show, who
amazing talent.
Yeah, I think he's a great heel too.
Or
he is, just watching his match, it was just super entertaining because he's not afraid to quote unquote like fall down. He's not afraid to make himself look a certain way, because he is a tough guy at the end of the day. But he there's a lot to learn from him. Anytime I'm at a show that I'm not booked on, I try to watch as many of the matches as possible to try to learn from people that have been doing it a lot longer than me. And he's someone that I do watch, and it was cool because I went to the Ring of Honor show I think it was like a month ago in Massachusetts, and he was on the card, and then to be on a show with him was just a cool moment as well.
So Connecticut is on fire right now. At least I personally think so. I've spoken
100%.
about it on social media. I'm sure you've seen, my tweets or any of my mentions of Connecticut being on fire right now. There's so much good professional wrestling. New England and the Northeast has always had such a great history of professional wrestling. And right now it seems to be really, really on fire. So outside of the norm, what the promotions that we've spoken to, where else is I know you're trying to the guy is looking for the opportunity, but where else would you care to go for and work?
I mean, I want to work everywhere. I want to go everywhere. But if I had to name specifics, I mentioned Northeast Wrestling. That's somewhere that I like as a kid would go to those independent shows.
Me too.
Even as an adult, that's my independent as a kid. And in my life, like those are the shows that I would go to. I would choose going to one of those shows over going to a SmackDown or a Raw, because they put on great shows every single time, no matter who's on the card, and they always do try to bring in a lot of big talent. I've wanted to go help out to get my foot in the door there, but every single time that they've had a show recently, I've also had a show, so I haven't been able to. I believe their next show is in October 15th, at least near here. And I
have
plan
it on my phone,
that one
actually.
and helping out.
I have it right here in front of me. It's the one in Bethany, correct? Is that the one you're talking about with Matt Taven? Somebody just literally, as we're talking, sent me the flyer. It is September 10th, so that's next Saturday. So obviously you're booked. Yeah, we're both booked for next Saturday. So
yeah, I think the next show after that is the 15th of October. I don't know if it's announced yet, but
yeah. Okay. Cool. Is there anything else that you want to throw out there? Social media, any of that kind of stuff to get people to follow you?
I mean, when it comes to promotions, I'm looking for any opportunity at all, even if not to wrestle. Give me a microphone in 30 seconds, and I'll make you remember me. My favorite thing about wrestling isn't the wrestling. It's the talking. It's talking people into the building. And I believe I have the ability to do that. There's a lot of wrestlers, but there's one guy, and it's me. And I'll prove that. I've said it since day one. There's this cliche term in wrestling that he's the guy. Hogan was the guy. Then it was Cena. Then it was Hogan, Stone Cold, The Rock, Cena, Roman. I took that and I put it all over my gear because whether it's true now, it will be true. I believe that I'm the guy. I'm the guy when outside of wrestling, inside of wrestling, when I show up on that night, in that moment, I'm the guy now. I believe it. You have to think that way. I just want to talk. I want to wrestle and I want to talk. So if you need someone to talk them into the building, give me a call. And then my social media is on Instagram, it's the guy Jack Dalton. On Twitter, it's the guy show _. And then just Jack Dalton on Facebook. I may or may not add you back, depending if I met you or if I know you or whatever it is. But yeah, when it comes to other promotions I want to work for, like I said, I want to work everywhere, but the Beyonds of the world, the Limitless, Chaotic, I'm willing to make the drives. And any of those places would be awesome to work. But really anywhere.
I want to thank you for being a part of this podcast today. If there's anything else, you're more than welcome to come back at any time, especially down the road. I mean, this guy's a star in the making. He's the guy. Thank you again for coming on, and thank you for everybody for tuning in.
Thank you for having me. Welcome to the Guy Show.